I love creating content. I've created content online since I was 13 years old, starting with just literally filming my screen with an old camera of me and my friends playing Destiny, GTA 5, these kind of games. And over time, it's progressed and developed, and I've done the hundreds of different styles of videos and finally landed on funny moments being the sort of thing that I enjoyed and wanted to do. And I love the style of content that I do. I love being able to have the potential to make someone laugh. The comments or messages that I get saying about how the content helps or just maybe made someone smile or just improved their mental health for a little bit. And I do love creating content, but I feel like I'm so tired of this other side of it that you physically can't ignore if you want to do it as a job. But it's a side of it that I don't like and I don't enjoy. And it's the sort of aspect of it that isn't part of the creation. Like, I love creating video. I did film at uni. I've always loved making stuff, creating things, and that's why I love the video process. I love the editing, the coming up with ideas, the filming. That's why, like, recently on the main channel I've been doing a lot of sort of like cutaways and cinematics and really just making and crafting something that isn't just a bog standard video. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not that skilled. I'm not making anything absolutely insane and mind blowing, but I just love and enjoy putting the effort in. And what I really hate is like the analytical business side of it, the thumbnails, the titles, the ever growing list of platforms that you need to be posting on, promoting on. It's so draining. And don't get me wrong, this is such a 21st century problem, and this isn't really like a thing to be like hung up on, because I've chosen to do what I do and I could choose to do it other ways. So before all of you comment being like, oh, woe is me, because this is woe is me, but this channel is a place for me to talk and get things off my mind. I'm so tired of having to like post twice a day on TikTok, post to a second TikTok account, post to YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, share that to the story, add this to that, sharing the videos on Discord, on this channel, on doing polls, sharing it to Twitter, and then making sure and constantly analysing the video's performance. Like, is it a 9 out of 10? Is it a 1 out of 10? Why is that? Is the thumbnail right? Is the title right? Is the click-through rate right? It's so tiring, and it just sort of sucks the life out of the creative aspect of everything that we do. And like I said, you can't ignore any of it, because without doing any of that other stuff, the main content doesn't work. If that doesn't work, I can't pay editors, thumbnail artists, get new games to make the next video on. I just feel like the more that I do this, the more it just drains me in terms of like just the numbers and constantly feeling the pressure to upload and to get this next video out and do this and do that. And like, short form content is the worst for it, because it just like nothing you ever do will ever make sense. If you upload to short form, you will know what I mean by this. Like, clips that you think, or videos that you think will do well, don't do well, and then you are just pushing against this tidal wave. It's like recently I've been trying to upload more consistently on the main channel, so I've been doing more videos and reducing the video size that we can edit more, and I've been working so hard to try and get that out and get that to be a possibility. just for the first two videos that I've done to be 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10, which for people who don't know, YouTube means it's the worst performing one. And it's just like the constant like analyzing your creations and feeling like you're working really hard and pushing against an algorithm that is just so unforgiving. And that's the biggest issue, is like, now there's this algorithm, whatever that even means, there's this thing that you're fighting against to try and break through, and it's so hard to do that. And I'd love to just be able to create and put it out there, and if it's good, people could find it without having to analyze and think of titles and do all this extra stuff. It sort of is the common thing nowadays, though. It's like at the minute I really want to write a book, which I've been saying for months and months and months now, and I've still like barely made any progress on it that I want to make. But I enjoy the creating and enjoy the crafting. But let's say that I do one day finish the book or do the book, the amount of advertising and little short TikToks to do about it and talk about it, just for what? I feel like we've monetized creative outlets in this world so far that the actual creation of something is like 10% of the overall workload that you do. I don't know if this is just sort of an issue with whenever you monetize a hobby or something that you love, because for example, if you're into painting or some sort of form of crafts, if you just do that in your spare time and just do it for yourself, then you've not got any of that pressure, because you're just having fun and you're just loving making it, which is beautiful. That is the perfect thing. But at the same time, it's not viable time-wise, because if you want to paint every second of every day, you've got to somehow monetize it, because otherwise you can't paint all the time, because you've got to go do the 9 to 5. You've got to do everything else that life throws at you. And that sort of correlates back to these videos. It's like, if I want to make these videos work or do well and make more and have this as like a viable career path, you've got to do all the extra things. You've got to play the game. And I hate playing the game. I hate this whole, like, I feel like 5 to 10 years ago this wasn't a thing with content and YouTube. I feel like you could just make cool shit and somehow, if it was good enough, it would get out there. Whereas now it's sort of like you have to do your thumbnails and titles a certain way. The first 5 seconds of your video has to be this and that, and retention and click through and do this, don't do that, and make sure that there's no breathing space in videos. And I really just want YouTube to return to a really authentic place of just making stuff and seeing what works, and not having to feel like you have to do all this extra shit on top of it. And I'm so sick of, like, within myself, my mood being dependent on numbers that I can't even control. Like, I would be lying if I didn't say it puts me in a down mood whenever I post a couple TikToks and it barely like breaks 5,000 views or something, which I know to some people is a lot, but for like the level of the following that I've gained over the years, like, that is essentially nothing. Or posting a YouTube video that me and my editor have worked really hard on and we're really proud of, for it to get a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10, because YouTube just decided not to push it out to people. Like, if anything had inherently changed in the content and people weren't watching it for that, then I'd understand, but it's literally just an algorithmic issue at this point. And like, I wish that my mood wasn't determined by all that, and then it drains me, because it's like, well, you've just got to keep churning, you've just got to keep pushing until you do break through it. until something works. And that's just not how I enjoy creating. I just enjoy making cool stuff. I don't know. It's such a weird one. I don't know if any of this ramble has made any sense. I don't even know if I've got my point across that I wanted to make, but that's kind of just how I'm feeling at the minute.